Can you tell me how ASP.NET MVC works? I can't find a single, universal answer to that question.
ASP.NET is Microsoft's web development interface of sorts. It is named for the ASP programming language that went away.
Kind of like C.NET, but C is still used.
Correct. .NET is a framework.
There are lots of frameworks.
The .NET framework is so widespread because it was endorsed by Microsoft.
That's like how Objective-C is a commonly used language only because Apple adopted it. But what is MVC?
MVC stands for Model, View, Controller. MVC separates the business logic of the model and controller on the server from the user interface.
What does that division do?
This means you can change the user interface like the website without having to rewrite the business logic.
Or you change the business logic without having to redo your website. Kind of like CSS.
MVC existed for web interfaces before Cascading Style Sheets existed, and MVC was a software programming standard well before HTML5 made CSS standard.
I understand the view is essentially the website the user sees. What is the difference between the model and the controller?
The controller accepts user input and calls various model objects in the object-oriented programming language, which in ASP.NET MVC is ASP.
Then that's the essence of the logic controlling the system. How does that relate to the model?
The model controls the data of the application, generates users of events when data changes and handles requests for information.
So the model is what tells me it has saved my time card or that it is about to log me out due to inactivity.
And the controller handles things like authenticating your login, how long you can be inactive before being kicked off, and whether you get to see the time card approval page.
And the view determines what color the time card website looks like, what the text is, and so forth.
One of the benefits of the MVC programming method with ASP.NET is that you can reuse data models between APIs. It isn't tied to the user interface.
Again, it is like CSS.
The view in programming with ASP.NET may be like CSS or the HTML page, or actually is the HTML page. The logic for the drop-down menus and what choices do what is the data model, while the permissions and actions are the controller.
Yet I've heard that MVC is mostly a buzzword in business.
There are lots of programming methodologies, but all object-oriented programming uses some version of MVC. The alternative is functional programming, which almost no one uses.
I think NASA and the nuclear fleet still use functional programming and Fortran.
Terrifying thought, isn't it? But ASP.NET with MVC is still widely used, if only by companies locked into Microsoft Enterprise licenses for the next decade.
Terrifying thought, isn't it?